Good news, Matt. Sorry, guys, my phone is. I can't adjust my phone. Guys. Give me a second. Okay, that's good. Hope you guys enjoyed my show talking about the CFL. Your ears are sick. I know. I know. Ivan, there's a CFL committee. Does the board of governors or a CFL committee, do they let the commissioner know about the rule? Of course they do. The commissioner has to listen to them, obviously. Yeah, we have a rule up here. We start 7 Canadian players. We draft the best players in Canada from CIS. But like the majority of the stars have to be the American players. That way they put on quality football in Canada. But I mean, the league's seeing very minimal growth, so obviously it's not working, right? Well, Hameson, yeah. 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 Either the board of governors or a committee, yeah, of course, they let the commissioner know, and I think all the GMs and coaches know about the rule too. Yeah, we got to start the American players. That's how it works. That's what we put on the show on television is for the fans. Because the CFL, they don't believe that the Canadian players are good enough to put on quality, good enough quality for people in Canada. They have their American bias, obviously. Yeah, that's why they bring in the American players. Guarantee all the Canadian, all you Canadian fans. I didn't know that, man. You open their eyes. Yeah, like I figured it out. Like, yeah, the CFL doesn't trust the Canadian players to put on a show, a good enough quality show on television with people of Canada. That's why they bring in all the American guys and they're the stars up here. I see the Canadian stars make plays and the American stars make plays. I don't really see much of a difference, right? Like, there's not really much of a difference. I don't get it. Like Nathan, when I see Nathan Rook play versus the American quarterbacks, I don't see any difference in quality, in the talent or quality. I don't see any difference, man. That's what I'm saying. There's not that much of a difference, but on average, they're a bit more talented. Yes, they are, but I don't get it. Yeah. So that's why I don't believe the CFL is working. Yes, I could be wrong though. Either the fans of Canada just don't give a shit about your CFL. Obviously, that's my answer to the CFL. Or there is a bigger market for it, but they're not resonating with your product on the field. Your product on the field, CFL are American players, so they're not familiar with your product. You're trying to promote to them to the people of Canada. That's my point. That's why they don't really care about your games. That's my other answer. I don't even say no. Ivan, which quarterback do you care about the most in the league? Nathan Rook, man. I care about him the most because he's Canadian. I'm rooting for him the most. It's just my automatic Canadian bias I have. I don't really care that much about the other quarterbacks. I care about them a little bit when they're stars, but I care more about Nathan Rook because Nathan Rook is Canadian. It's the automatic Canadian bias I have. That's how it works, right? Yeah. Yeah, the CFL thinks the best way to grow the Canadian football brand to the Canadian people is by promoting it with American talent from a different country. And you wonder why the league's not growing. It's just very weird. I don't get it. Because they're buying Iron Man. If we do this, the quality will dip. Like, yeah, but it won't really make much of a difference. It'll dip a little bit, but it's still entertaining quality football. Man. When I watch CIS games, I'm entertained enough when I watch it. I mean, it's good. It's good for me. I don't get it. But those aren't even the best players in Canada. Yeah. I'm sorry. Oh, hey, yeah. 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 Does the CFO know if they promote the Canadian talent, it could be huge? I don't know about that, but for me personally, I think if it was just Canadian players, the CFL could be huge, man. It could be a huge business in like 15 years. Make $600 million plus in revenue, man. It'll never be the NFL, but it'll be a huge league in like 10, 12, 15 years. I believe if they do this, but they're never going to do that. We're not going to do that. quality will dip. Yeah, the quality will dip, but you're not making more money. And these Canadian players are going to be more famous to the people of Canada. They're never going to be the NHL players, not even close in popularity, but the fans in Canada can resonate with the Canadian players more because they're Canadian. I'm more positive. That's my answer, obviously. That's what I think, obviously. Why will they never? Why will they never change their minds? Because the American bias has been passed on for decades to the league. So because it's been going, this thing has been going on for decades, they're never going to change their mind. They believe that's the best way to go to the league because they're trying to be the NFL of Canada. That's why they bring in all these American guys from the States, and they get to be the stars in the Canadian Football League. And they promote those American players to the Canadian people, and you wonder why your league's not growing. CFL, they don't resonate with those guys. They're unfamiliar with your product, man. Like that you're selling to the Canadian people on the field when they watch the games, or they're unfamiliar with your product. It's American, right? American product you're selling on the field to the Canadian people. That's my answer. You're trying to sell on TV to the Canadian people. Sorry, don't hate him, yeah. Yeah. There's all the Canadian players in the CFL. Ivan, man, yeah, this thing could be huge. If it's just the Canadian players, if the league could double revenue. Because a lot of fans are familiar with these Canadian players, they can relate to the Canadian. But the CFL doesn't trust you guys to put on good enough quality football guys. That's why it's never going to happen. They leave the American players to put on better quality football. It makes that much of a difference. And that's why you guys are never going to get your time to shine up here. That's how it works, right? It's just the truth. Yeah. Why? You're such a fucking dick, man. What's the truth, man? The CFL needs to be exposed, man. I don't mean to be an asshole. I've been putting up with the American bias since I was a kid, man. I always love the games, but I'm like, I don't get it. Like, it's CFL and all these star players are American players. Like, what's going on here? And as I got older, I figured it out. Yeah, they don't trust the Canadians to put on good enough quality football because they're trying to be the NFL of Canada, obviously. My answer is like, look, man, stop trying to be the NFL of Canada. Focus on the Canadian people, the CFL of Canada, not being the NFL of Canada. That's why they bring in the American players. The American players are a little more athletic. They're amazing players. They put on a show. But like, if you want your star players to be American, you have to now promote these people to the Canadian people. And either the fans in Canada don't care about the CFL, or they're not resonating with American star players. That's my answer, obviously. They don't really care about those guys that much because they're American. They can't resonate with them. That's my answer. Don't hate me, yeah. Do they love the American players? Yes, they do. When they become star players up here, the fans love them. Yeah, even they love them. Yeah, I know the fans love the American players and CFL stars, but a good chunk of them, when they get NFL opportunities, they leave. Obviously, so they get to be stars up here. The fans love them, and then the GMs lose these guys to the NFL, and then the GMs have that thought. Yeah, they use our league for the NFL. Well, you guys know that they never want to play here to begin with. Man, they're only here by default. Had they been in the NFL, you never would have seen any of these guys playing the CFL. They're only here by default because they didn't get their opportunity, obviously. And then when you lose them to the NFL, the GMs and coaches are pissed off when you know they never want to be here to begin with. They're only here by default. And that's how the CFL wants to go to the league with those guys, instead of the Canadian players who actually want to play up here. It's a very weird way of growing the league, in my opinion, right? Fuck you, Irish. You're fucking dick. Well, that's just the truth, man. I don't mean to be an asshole. Yeah. But they are quite a bit of CFL players who turn off opportunities, obviously. Especially the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks in the CFL, when they have a successful career up here, they don't really care about the NFL anymore because they're making good money up here. They're CFL stars, and the fans love them, obviously. As Bowling Matt Mitchell turned on opportunities to play up here because he's a CFL star. He has an amazing career up here. The fans love him. That's why, I'm good. Even though my dream is playing in the NFL, this is good enough for me. And I'm a franchise quarterback. I'm not going to go to the NFL. Yeah, a lot of players turn down the NFL. And the players who do turn down the NFL, I respect them a lot for doing that, obviously, when they turn on NFL opportunities. But there are some players who go to the NFL. I should say, oh, Jameson, yeah. So I you don't, yeah, even though there are talented players playing the CFL, I don't really resonate with them. That's why I don't care that much because they're American, right? It's just going to buy automatically and buy side. That's my point. So the fans of America don't care about Canadian players either. They have their American bias. They don't resonate with Canadian players. That's my point. And they're going on him. So yeah. Never gonna happen though. The CFL obviously is like Ivan. You need to give the American players obviously pro football to play pro football. Yeah, but what about the Canadian players? And that's how you know you guys don't really care about the Canadian players. You care more about the American players. You're not even from here. Like, and that's how you want to grow league. It's yeah, we have our bias side. The American players are more talented. They deserve to shine up here in Canada, honestly. I'm like, okay, but if you see minimal growth in 10 years, obviously something's not working right. Either fans in Canada don't care about Canadian football or there's a bigger market for it, but they're not familiar with your American product on the field CFL that you're trying to sell to the Canadian people. So I'm saying, that's my answer, obviously. They're unknowns to the Canadian people. That's why some people don't really care about your games. Even though it's quality football, the product on the field are people from a different country, and you promote those guys to Canadian people, they don't really care that much. That's my answer. Oh, I'm saying, yeah. I have your genes, I know. Genius. Does the CFL have growth? Yeah, but very little growth. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 15 million, 18 million. They make an extra maybe 15, 18 million more every year. It's like it's minimal growth. It's not like substantial growth by like 40, 50 million dollars. No. It's like maybe 15, 18 million dollars they make more in revenue every year. It's minimal growth the league has, obviously. As I saw the CFO commissioner press conference, the new guy who got hired, and he said, yeah, the league has seen growth, obviously. Yeah, but it's minimal growth. It's not like substantial growth. That's my point, right? The CFLs obviously they want substantial growth. They want at least give maybe 35, 40 million dollars extra they make every year in revenue. But they're not making that. They're making maybe 18 million, 15 million more in revenue. That's why they increased the cap, obviously. The CFL to $6 million. The CFL cap is $6 million, obviously. They increased it by I don't know $500,000. That way the players get paid more money, but it's growing, but it's minimal growth. Obviously, the CFL has. Yeah. Yeah. Those bad eye from the bias. Oh yeah. I saw Nathan Rourke's interview 2 years ago before he went to the NFL. When he won outside Canadian, he gave a speech, obviously, and yeah, thank you CFL for giving uh, me as a Canadian player an opportunity to play. He said that because they know the Canadians know the bias is very bad, obviously. So thank you for giving me the opportunity as a Canadian to play quarterback. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He appreciated them giving him an opportunity, him as a Canadian player, the opportunity to play, obviously. So that's how bad the bias is, man. All you American football fans, that's cold, man. I know it's cold. Obviously. Yeah. The American players know the Canadian players are worth more than them. They do. They're not stupid, but because they're a bit more talented, yeah, like these Canadian guys are not as good as us, so we deserve to start up here. But I mean, the fans resonate more with the Canadian players than the American players because they're from Canada. They can relate to them. They're from the same country. Whereas the American players, they don't relate to them that much because they're from a different country. They may be more talented, but they don't relate to them as much because they're from a different country. That's my point, right? And there you go. Yeah. Yeah. So it's tough for you. Yeah, it's tough for me to resonate with these American guys because they're from a different country. I don't know anything about them, and I know, I know, like even though they're stars up here and the fans love them and everything, I know they never want to be here to begin with. They're only here by default. So it's tough for me to resonate with those guys. You guys, all you Canadians see on, you see what I'm saying? We see what you're saying. Yeah, it's tough for me to resonate with these guys because they're American and from a different country. They're amazing, talented football players, but like I can't resonate them because they're American from a different country. I know that this was not their dream. They're only here by default. Whereas the Canadian players, I know this is their dream. Like they actually want to play here, and they're Canadian. You can resonate and relate to them more. That's the point, right? The American guys, you don't resonate with them as much. That's my yeah. That's why I don't care that much about those guys compared to the Canadian guys. Don't hang them saying yeah. Sarah. But see what knows we don't care if they ever wanted to be here. They're very talented. I'm saying they put on a show, quality football, man. This is how we go to the league, I or promoting these guys. That's how we go to the league, I I'm like, yeah, that's a very weird way of growing the league, right? Very weird way. Anyways, yeah. So you know why they bring the American players? Yes, they're because they're a bit more talented. They put on more of a show on television. It's more quality football. They're trying to be the NFL of Canada, the CFL. That's why they bring all the American guys. It's comments. Yeah, I want quality football. Yeah, but CFL, you've been putting on quality football for years, and your league is seeing very minimal growth. So obviously, quality is not the issue when it comes to your game. It has to be another reason why the fans don't care about your games, man. And I know why. I know what it is. It's your American talent problem in your league, CFL. The fans not resonating with these American players. They're from a different country. They're American. They don't really resonate with these guys. That's my answer. That's the key. All right, you're genius. I know. Genius. Quality is not the real reason why the fans are interested. No, it's something else. Because CFL is high end quality football, almost as good as the NFL. And yet the fans in Canada still don't care that much. There has to be another reason why people don't watch games CFL. I believe it's the American talent problem in your league. That's my answer. That's the key to fixing the CFL. Obviously, don't hate him, yeah. Yeah. We need to give the American players an opportunity to play football. I understand that, but the NFL doesn't give Canadians opportunity to play down there either. There's only what, like, 5 Canadian players play in the NFL. Yeah, I know you need to give the American players opportunity to play football. Yeah, but what about the Canadian players? You have to give them an opportunity to play football here too. Like, so you care more about the American players playing pro football than the Canadian players who are actually from here and they want to play in your league. And the American guys never wanted to play in your league. This was not their dream. They're only here by default. So they didn't get that opportunity. So how's that fair? You guys what I'm saying? It's not fair, honestly. Yeah, there you go. Don't hate him, yeah. Yeah. It's common sense, man. If you want the league to make more money, you promote the Canadian brand on the field to the in a Canadian country, the Canadian people. That's obviously the common. It's common sense. That's how you grow your league. But the CFL doesn't do that. They promote the Canadian football brand with American talent for the Canadian people, and you wonder why your league's not growing because the talent that you're promoting to the Canadian people, they're not Canadian. They're American people, American athletes. So the fans in Canada are not resonating with those players that much because they're from a different country. That's my answer. So there are UGs, I know. I think the CFL could be huge. Oh yeah, I believe if they promote the Canadian talent to the people of Canada, and all these draft picks, these CIS quarterbacks or franchise players, a lot of people at the university and all stuff will tune into the games, man. There's a million plus students at the CIS universities. A good chunk of them will tune into the games. Double your viewership. It could be huge in 10 years. Make, I don't know, 500 million in 10 years, man. You could double your revenue, I believe. It could be huge. But CFL doesn't care either. We don't care. Like, we know the Canadian players have a bigger market value. They're not as talented. They don't pull on as good quality football. We're going to bring all the American guys and all these guys to the Canadian people. That's how we're the league. Okay, but I hope the league grows CFL in 10 years. If it has minimal growth, obviously something's not working. Don't you? Yeah. Yeah. You should be CFL commissioner. Nah, man, I'm too big for the league, man. I'm worth more than the entire league, man. They can't afford me. Yeah. CFL can't afford me, man. I'm too big for the league. But that's my suggestion to the CFL if they want this league to grow. But they're never going to change their mind. We're not going to do that. It's a little bit risky, the quality with it. Yeah, but CFL, it's not about the quality of your football game, man. It's something else. Because you've been putting on quality football for years and you're seeing minimal growth. The fans are kind of still don't care. So the quality is not the issue. It's something else, man. It's not about the quality of your football game. Because CFL football is very, very entertaining football. And yet people kind of don't care that much. There has to be another reason why they don't care. Either they don't care about the CFL or they're not resonating with the American star players. That's my answer. There you go. Don't like him. Yeah. Sarah? I heard you always say, Ivan, you're a genius, man. I know. That's actually a good business strategy of growing the league. Yes, that's an amazing business strategy I have growing the league. Some C4 fans, Ivan, man, like you might be right, man. Maybe it's because the people in Canada don't resonate with, they don't resonate with the American players because they're from a different country. That's my answer. They're putting on a show, but they still don't care that much because they're American. We're from a different country. And you're promoting these guys. They're unknown to the Canadian people. So the fans are not resonating with the American star players. They don't really care that much about them. That's my answer. Don't hear yeah. So Sarah? Ivan, they care. Yes, I know they care, but they don't care about them the way they care about the Canadian players. You guys see what I'm saying? Yeah. The fans really root for Trey Ford. Yeah, they did. This was last season. Trey Ford had limited reps. He was doing very good, obviously. Then they kept playing the American player, and everyone in the stadium was saying wanted Trey Ford to go back on the field. They didn't care about the American player. That's all you know. They care way more about the Canadian players than the American players. I know that, but we don't care. The Canadian players are not talented. They don't put on as good quality football on television. It's risky. We're not going to do that. That's why it's never going to happen. I'm sorry. Yeah. Why, man, you're hurting the American players putting up here. Well, I'm sorry, man. If I hurt the American players a little bit, like that's just the truth, right? Like I don't resonate with those guys because they're American. That's just how I feel. I'm Canadian. Just like those guys don't resonate with the Canadian. If the NFL promoted all these Canadian star players over the American players in the NFL, would you American guys would care about those guys? We don't care. We wouldn't care about them. We wouldn't resonate with them because they're Canadian. Yeah, you have the same situation here. It's just a bias that you have, right? Yeah. It wouldn't resonate with those Canadian players either. But yeah, we wouldn't care about those Canadian guys. Yeah, why? Because we're American and they're Canadian. We don't really care about them. They're from a different country. Yes, you got the same situation here. There we go. Sorry. Yeah. You think the GMs and coaches disagree with you? Some of them do. I mean, that's a bad idea. The quality of the yeah, but like hypothetically speaking, guys, if the CFL did make this change, which is never going to happen, and your league doubles in revenue in 10 years, it paid off, man. You guys, all the GMs and coaches can now make more money. They can now make more money, obviously, and the league has grown substantially. It's a more healthier, successful league. Obviously, don't hate me saying yeah. You guys see my point? I was just saying yeah. That's my point. And hypothetically speaking, if the league did double the revenue in 10 years, it makes like $500 in revenue in like 7 to 10 years. All these ex CFL players who were CFL stars up here, they're like, "Fuck, man." Like, they'll see them at them, they'd be a bit jealous and pissed off. Yeah, even though we're a bit better than these Canadian guys, in most cases, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Like now that the league is just Canadian players, I don't really care that much about all these Canadian players because I don't resonate with them either. Yeah, they'll be a bit pissed off. I don't resonate with these Canadian guys because they're from a different country and we're a bit better than these Canadian guys. But man, the fans love them a lot more than they love us. Yes, because they're Canadian guys. You guys are American, don't hate them. Yeah, they can be a bit jealous about stuff, honestly. Yeah, because the CFL made this change, it's not going to happen. The league has now doubled in revenue in like eight years. Fuck, man, like the league is more successful now because of the Canadian players. The fans care way more about those guys than they care about us. And yes, you guys are American. I'm saying you may be a bit more talented, you American guys on app. You're a bit better than Canadian players, but obviously something's not working. Either the fans of Canada don't care about CFL or they're not resonating with American players. That's what I'm saying. That's my answer. Obviously. You're genius, I know. It's raining outside.